the name is
I got something pretty awesome here today. This is Mondo's third 1/12 scale figure for their 2000X Masters of the Universe line. I'm pretty excited for Skullface. The He-Man they did was, objectively, I think the best He-Man figure. It wasn't perfect, the cut at the upper torso was pretty ugly, even with the chest straps covering it up some. And even though there was a lot of heads, you really only had two display options, grunting or stoic. But enough about He-Man, we're here for the Skeleton Man. A quick note on the box is that it's oddly big. It's 14 inches tall. Maybe they could have allocated the accessories a little better to get something smaller, that's kind of whatever. What's actually worth mentioning about the box is the radical art on the front. I like the left hand there actually being the left hand the figure has, it's a nice touch. I thought the art looked a bit familiar, and you'll see that the signature on the bottom right is Emiliano Santalucia. They illustrated the 2002 Masters of the Universe comic, that's pretty neat. Actually freeing Sans Undertale from the box took longer than I would have liked because everything was individually wrapped, which is actually a good thing, can't really complain there. But when I finally had Skull Daddy out of his prison, oh boy, I'm actually sweating. And it's not just because it's 90 degrees outside, and these lights are really hot. Okay, that might be a big reason. I'm immediately getting pose after pose and having a lot of fun. The Bone Man is already so much better than the Boy Scout, but, you know, there might be some personal preference in there. Maybe a lot of personal preference. This guy looks freaking great, brother. Let's get the original in here for posterity's sake. Check out how much more paint this guy has. Everything just looks so good. It makes me wonder who designed Skullomania's outfit, and I don't mean the character designer. In the context of the Masters of the Universe, did Skeletor create his fit himself, like from scratch? He was already rocking those bones as Keldor. I missed that pre-order, but it's no skin off my teeth, look at this Uggo. Keltis got the handsome Squidward treatment.
My face!
Oh my goodness, the look of this lad, hubba hubba. We also get these glorious bony toesies. The Only Feats account has limited membership, mind you, and I bought up most of those slots, so before I get too lost in my delusions, let's go over Brooks' articulation. The head has a solid range of motion. It is a bit loose, but it does hold its poses. The jaw has a hinge on it to allow for meow. This does a lot for me. The shoulder is nutso. Look at this thing. The armor flaps are made of a soft plastic so they move out of the way. Underneath, you can see how the hinge is cut out and covered up wonderfully, but don't you worry, he's not covering up these guns, baby. I absolutely love that every Masters of the Universe character is effectively the same exact body. Even the sneaky, magic-wielding bone guy can throw hands with those pythons. There's a 360 at the bicep and a little more than 90 degrees at the elbow. The wrists are fabulous. Almost. The range of motion is really good. They let you do a lot with those mutant bony fingers, which I love. It allows for the sauce. Be he casting, brooding, or gesturing with these cool open hands. The Virgin open hands versus the Chad open hands. The downside though, I'll get to it with the accessories. The upper and lower torso together have an okay side tilt, but have a fantastic ab crunch and back extension. You'll notice there's not an ugly cut between the top and lower torso like the choir boy. He looks real nice. Something I found really unexpected and didn't notice until I took a closer look. I don't think these two figures share any of the same sculpt. I was expecting some reused parts, which is pretty common for MOTU figures, but no, the Revenant is all natural. You can get a standard Spartan kick, but it will naturally push up the waist armor. Those cheeks get in the way of going any further back. The leg spread is good, but we'll do the same thing pushing that armor up. There's no thigh cut or boot cut, but there's rotation baked in at the top of the leg that goes decently in and out. The leg bend is a little more than 90 degrees. You can get an alright crouching pose. It's fitting to have your villain fall on one knee, but such a pose should be beneath him. I could get the Skull King to sit on the Bone Throne, but he is a little too big for it. The ankle pivot is on a ball hinge that's hindered by the leg armor. If you rotate that hinge with the feet, you can get a little bit more. It's very squeaky, but I like the feet being stiff rather than loose. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of front and back movement at the foot, but a little bit goes a long way. Overall, I think the articulation is great. There's no shortage of poses I could come up with. Before I move on to accessories, I should mention this is the exclusive version from Mondo. The exclusive bonus parts are this Snake Mountain base, 2 additional faceplates, the muzzle, and the Flaming Havoc staff. The base didn't seem like much to me at first, but it is neat. The lava has a bit of a gloss to it, and the texture and detail made me reevaluate it as a bonus. As in, why is this a bonus? You are given a more generic base, but this thing is not pretty. I think it's way too big as well. Just how many figures do you think I'm trying to get onto my shelf, Mezco? Mondo? The bonus base is just tall enough to use as an elevated platform if you wanted to pose with it rather than just standing on top of it. The 2 bonus faceplates are an "oh no, we're blasting off again" and a smirk? Angry? Scowling? Is he pensive? I think that's an eyebrow raise. What are you, some kind of master of the universe? You get a gag for when Skeledoggy is being a bad boy, too. There are no shackles included. I think this is just to get him to shut up. I don't think I've ever seen the 4th member of the Blue Man group hit him with the old Fusro Da or chant an incantation or spell, but correct me if I'm wrong. The last exclusive accessory is the Flaming Havoc staff. Absolutely radical. Almost. Has this ever happened to you? You're at a party, showing them kids how it's done. "It's super sick nasty over here, bro," they say. "This party is lit," says another. "This dude with a skull for a face showed up and is waving around his flaming ram skull. You are him. But what's this? All of a sudden your wrists can't support the weight of your own aura farming. What an absolute tragedy." The spicy Havoc staff is heavier than the normal one. The normal one wasn't having this issue as much. I was able to cheat it a little bit by making poses that don't allow it to fall, if that makes sense. But it's still unfortunate that the weight of brandishing power with one hand is too much for Bluey to handle. I do still quite like this as an accessory though. Comparing it to the Havoc Staff Prime, the bone is more orange. Probably because those flames are so cool. Or, hot? Those are all of the accessories included with the exclusive. Honestly, they're neat, but not necessary. I think the standard release still has everything you'd want in my opinion. Let's go over that stuff now. After taking some Rad X, the slime green radiation goes away and you can swap the faceplate for a more bleached bone. It's a more neutral face. The green has those gnarly beady eyes. It's been a while, but I thought Scorpion's eyes would glow red when he gets angry in the show. The alternate head has empty eye sockets, so you're left to draw your own conclusions about the emotional state of our husbando. But the jaw on his head is also hinged to help us out. Yeah! Never mind, I still have no idea. I prefer the green head, but if this was the only head included, we'd still be eating steak for dinner. It's pretty good. On to the hands. I mentioned the open hands earlier. There's a pair of hands for cursing your enemies, and a pair of item-holding hands for slaying your enemies. Almost. I didn't bring it up earlier, but the Havoc staff doesn't fit in these hands perfectly. If you look at the hand closely, you'll see it's not a circle. There's a bit too much palm in there. You can still hold the accessories, but not as well as I think it should be able to. Him Guy doesn't have that problem with their hands. Why can't your mortal enemy hold your Havoc staff better than you can? These hands are also a rubbery plastic, which may have already expanded a bit. Moving on from that, the 2-for-1 special on swords looks pretty cool. If I remember correctly, the original figures each had one half of the Sword of Power, and it was part of the story for the mini-comics. So that was referenced with this accessory's inclusion with the original 2000X Havoc Staff Enjoyer, which is how we get it included now. I always really liked this sword for my own personal perception of the maniacal skeleton. If Keldor is Randor's brother, they would have also been trained in some form of martial combat. And every figure also includes a sword. I just don't see Crazy Cat Lady's final form carrying around a sword unless they can actually wield it. I like to think that the combined swords of power no longer hold any power, but they're still held onto as a souvenir of spite. Oh, the powerful evil wizard is also a master swordsman. They're my toys, buddy, okay? I'll make them as strong as I want them to be. Unfortunately, with these hands, while they can be nuzzled in there, they shouldn't be able to do this at all. The swords can fit on the back with this soft rubbery strap. I love when accessories can be physically kept on a figure. It feels like something they actually hold onto and need rather than, well, an accessory. Mr. Absolutely Does Not Kill People, looking at you, pretty sure you offed some guys in the movie there, buddy, can always hold onto the Sword of Power. Finally, the Havoc Staff, which I kind of went over already. Because this one is lighter, some poses are a lot more doable. The staff widens closer to the top and holds a little better in the hands, but again, the hands expanding over time and potentially not being able to hold the swords is a bit of an issue. Only time will tell for sure how bad it actually is, though. Personally, I'm not too keen on two-handed poses with the staff. I think the Havoc Staff should primarily be wielded in one hand, but it still looks good if he's holding it with two. And that's all the accessories. Almost. I completely forgot this figure had a cape. It's wired, which is great, but for me personally, capes are kinda like moving eyeball accessories. Really neat, but take a lot of work to get just right. There are multiple wires in this thing. There's one along the bottom, this one in the front, one on the sides, and one on this top piece. It looks like a big old parka if you try to have it work as a cape. It's also really big. I'm doing my best to get it looking neat and natural, especially around the shoulders and neck. I think I was able to get it to look alright after a bit of trial and error. I tried a few different looks, but it definitely looks best when you really have it flowing. In closing, I really like this figure. It's not only the most articulated Skeletor, it's the best looking Skeletor. I'm a big fan of the 2000X Skeletor design. Just look at this guy, he looks so evil! The glow up here is insane. I stand by what I said in the beginning. The He-Man figure is really good. This Skeletor is way better. When you have them side by side, there's just so much more going on with Skeletor. They didn't do He-Man dirty, they just did Skeletor so clean. For example, you've got He-Man's boots here. Boots with the fur! The sculpt here with the straps looks cool. They didn't do anything wrong. Then you compare that to what Skeletor's got going on. You've got his bony feet, you've got that super over-designed leg armor, and then the coup de grace is the paint that's been applied. On top of that, Skeletor just has more character to work with. He-Man is heroic Conan the Barbarian. Don't get me wrong, I still like posing burly men attacking things with their big swords. But I also already have figures that are burly men that I can pose attacking things with their big swords. I can't say I have very many wizards that are completely shredded with a skull for a face. Oh, okay, never mind. I actually have quite a few of those. But the point is, they can't gesture like this figure can. The range of expression has always been severely limited on Masters of the Universe figures. And I'd say it's primarily due to articulation. It's unfortunate that the hands can't hold the accessories as well as they should, but I was still able to get them to hold the accessories. Same thing with the wrists when there's weight applied. Unfortunate, but I was still able to get poses. This is probably figure of the year for me, and I don't even think it's close. I love Skeletor, dude. Have fun with your toys.
Skeletor, you're so cool! And with the secrets of Grayskull, you're gonna rule! Skeletor, Skeletor, I love you!